You ever have a friend go crazy on you?
Yeah.
I've had friends that like legitimately lost their mind. I can't talk to them anymore. Like you would talk to him about events, and his version of events were just like so not what actually happened. And you go, oh, this is a person that's lost their marbles
Yeah. Yeah, it happens. You can temporarily lose your marbles
or
in this
permanently.
dimension, or permanently. Yeah, but I think that like, I mean, yes, permanently, of course. There's like,
You know, I'm not saying through psychedelics either. I'm
no,
not
I know what
even.
you're. I know what you
I'm
mean.
just saying people that just can't keep it together anymore, and for whatever reason, whether it's a combination of life stress and biological situation, whatever the fuck they've got going on, you know, uniquely in their own brain. But some people just all of a sudden not there anymore, not keeping it together.
Do they think they're keeping it together?
Sometimes, yeah. I mean, there's broad range.
Right.
There's all kinds of it sucks, man. People, the brain is an organ and it malfunctions, and sometimes you go nuts, and you get stigmatized for it, which really sucks. Because if you because that just adds to the problem. Like if you see somebody in a cast. And you're like, oh, what happened to your arm? And they'll tell you, oh, whatever, I fell down. But you talk to someone who's been like hospitalized for a few weeks, and they tell you, yeah, I had to go to the hospital. I had a nervous breakdown. I went crazy, shit my pants, threw my dog through a window. You're like, you're like, you want to be compassionate, but there's some part of you that's like, oh, now this is a crazy person. It's like, it's just something happened. The operating system temporarily crashed, and quite often, I think that could be a very good thing. I think that having your personality or your ego or crash can often mean that you were trying to be somebody that you aren't. And some people invest so much energy in trying to
Self-defining.
Yeah, they just want to be something, They since they were a kid, their mother was telling them you should be like this, and then they try to be like this, and they hold up this thing. They're always working to hold up this giant tail feather, and their arms start shaking, and then they can't hold it up, and that's when they have like anger outbursts, or suddenly like their friends are like, you turned into someone that I've never met. I don't even know who that is. It's like, no. That is, you met them. You met underneath the tail feather, the seething sea of anger and disappointment and sadness. You met that thing that they're trying to avoid by looking up at this mask that they're holding up to the world. But that fucking seething sea of disappointment and anger and horror and sadness, that's where it's at, man. You got to go into that thing. And for some people, the only way they can go into that is by having a full-scale nervous breakdown, because then they can have permission to dive into that awful vortex of darkness, because underneath that vortex of darkness is paradise. Underneath that's love and happiness and joy and connection and tranquility and all that stuff. And everyone thinks that the way to get to that point is by avoiding this awful black forest that surrounds the Garden of Eden, which is inside everybody. It's inside everybody. It's there. It's there. And it doesn't matter, you can work out, and that will definitely give you a temporary good feeling. But until you address the internal structures that you haven't acknowledged, you're always going to go back to that place where you find yourself morose and depressed and angry, and you don't know why. You always go back to that place until you sit with the sadness inside of you. You have to do that.
What you're describing is coming out of the closet. And,
Yeah, for a lot of people, that is
Right?
what it is, man.
Yeah.
It's coming out of the closet. And there's a lot of closets,
There are a lot of
man.
closets,
There's not just
exactly.
the gay closet.
Right.
There's all kinds of closet. There's the artist closet. Some people are fucking accountants. They're wearing suits and their ties on tight, and they're fucking like organized and disciplined. But inside, they're probably painters. They probably want to fucking paint. They want to paint day glow mountains down at the beach. That's what they really are. But their daddy or their mommy wanted them to be a good little businessman. So they became this thing that's the opposite of what they are. This is the verse in the Bhagavad Gita. God forgive me because I've quoted it way too many times, but it's better to be an honest street sweeper than a dishonest king. It's better to be a happy guy brushing fucking leaves up the street than it is to be some zillionaire who inside is dying or numb or miserable. Mostly numb. Numb's the word. Most people are just numb.
But as long as these people can quantify on paper, I still have a X $million home. My car still costs X $1,000. This suit is an X suit. I am still ahead. I am not going to abandon all these things.
As long as they don't see through the bullshit of the game they think they're winning.
They have to fall. Right. Yeah, it's almost like you have to fall to to really. That's what you got to appreciate, those moments when it all falls apart on you, because that means you've got an opportunity to try it again. Let's take a new, fresh perspective.
This is a cool thing that at this retreat I went to, this guy Jack Kornfield said, which I really loved.
What a great name, by the way.
Yeah, with a K, not a C.
With a K.
Jack Kornfield, Mortal Kombat K. Jack Kornfield. Wow. But he's really cool, man. But he was talking
with a K, cool with a K.
Yeah, he's with like the cigarette.
And corny.
No, this guy was awesome, and he was one of the things he talked about is in some religious tradition how they like hold the scriptures. A rabbi like had his students hold the scriptures over their heart, and when they were memorizing them, and they would say, "Why do we do this?" And he said, "So that when your heart breaks, they'll fall in." And it's a beautiful idea, which is that heartbreak is actually your ego cracking, and the moment that cracks, you're in the experience of truth. And when you're in the experience of truth, that's when you can really become who you are. But to get to who you are, it's like when a bone heals the wrong way. Like that's what a lot of people's entire personality is. It's like a bone that grew the wrong way, and that needs a fucking a snap, a crack, and you get that through
and a pop.
You need that initial fucking thing, and
it's a beautiful analogy,
and it hurts. It hurts, but we're pain-avoiding creatures, so we think so we're always running away from this pain, but the problem is, as we're running away from pain, we're still exactly in pain. It's basically like being on fire and running away from water. You're just running away from the water because I don't know, that's a stupid analogy, actually.
No, you were doing great up until that, though.
Yeah.
You had a lot of great points.
It's true. There's the monster in the dark, and the faster you run, the more likely you are to run into something that's actually going to hurt you, as opposed to turning around and saying, "Oh, fuck, there is no monster."
No monster.
But you're never going to know that until you stop and turn around.
Yeah.
And in some cases, people don't have the discipline or the assistance or the balls to stop and turn around, so they have to trip over something. And then there's like, oh, look.
Yep. That's
the
that's
classic
a great way
story.
To put it, man.
That's the classic story of someone hiding a secret and going completely out of control because of the pressure of hiding that.